Good morning. How are you doing? It's Cherie from Big Notes Get Votes, and welcome to the weekly live workshop, which at the moment in the month of November is focusing on the Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan. I hope that you have had a chance to look at that. You can download the entire checklist whenever you want, and what it is 30 tips that you can pretty much do in under 30 minutes, like accumulatively. That's a big word for a Saturday morning. To help you get gig fit, to improve your gig fitness. Well, that's always a mouthful, but I love the sound of it. And so what I've done over the last 4 weeks is I've gone through the previous week's tips, and we're at day 22 today, which means we've actually got kind of like technically 9 days to look at and to spotlight. And that's what I've been doing each week. So you can go back and watch the last 4 weeks or 3 weekly live workshops where I've spotlighted all the different tips, or you can sign up to grab the download, which is a checklist in a calendar form, has check boxes if you're inclined that way like I am, and that'll give you a chance to just kind of see the big picture overview of some of the elements of building your confidence as a singer and just kind of checking them off, checking in with them. You can add, overlay, take what you want, throw out what you don't. It's just an opportunity to see the grand scheme of things. And here in New Zealand, it's a great time for us. We are leading into our summer season. It's a beautiful day here in Auckland where I live. And a lot of my clients are getting ready for performances. We are in a wonderful position where we are able to mass gather and have live events again, which has been phenomenal. I've been able to do a couple of great performances, and I've got some more coming up over the next 6 months and specifically next weekend. So I've been using this for myself, and it is something I've used for the last 4 or 5 years, and I turned it into a checklist because it was, I kind of had this really manky checklist that I used. I thought maybe other people would benefit from this. So here we are today. Usually the format for this weekly live workshop is to answer any singing questions. Now, I can see some comments and chats that chat that comes through. So if you have a question for me, pop it into the comments and I will try and answer it live if I catch it. Otherwise, I will most definitely answer it in every weekly live, which is at 10:30 on a Saturday, New Zealand Standard Time. Next week, I might be traveling. I might be in the air. That's a pun because I'm going to do an LAB gig maybe I'll be sound checking. I think I'll be sound checking. Maybe I can do it from there. Haven't got my run sheet just yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I do. Anywho, let's jump into things. I have got 9 days of tips to chat through with you. Plus, I also have the question of the week that I've taken from my artist questionnaire. So whenever I start to work with a client, I get them to complete an artist questionnaire, and that asks them a few well-being questions, ask them what they want to work on and what they find frustrating about singing. So I've pulled anonymously, of course, some questions from the questionnaire, and there are over 100. So I'm breaking them down and consolidating them and hopefully giving you some helpful information that you can basically benefit from the questions that singers ask of themselves and ask of me. And I think it's quite universal. I see some of these questions happen regularly. But first, let's get on to the Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan because this is the last week of it. And then we are moving on. Now, day 22 is spotlighting a song study. What a song study to me is a deep dive into one song, and I stay with that song for about a month. Now, sometimes when I'm preparing for gigs, each of those songs will be spotlighted in this way. When I'm not performing, I still like to grab a song that I'm pretty good at, basically a song that I smash out of the park, and I deep dive into that and figure out why am I so comfortable with it? What is it about the vowel sounds, the phrasing, the key of the song, my interpretation of the storytelling if it is a cover? And then I like to pick a super challenging song. One, I call it, it's very classy, but I call it the throw up in your mouth a little bit song, where you're like, ooh, when you think about singing it. For me, that's always been And I'm telling you, Jennifer Hudson version of Dreamgirls in the original key, because I happen to know that where my range sits, and it's just a fraction outside of my range. So there's lots and lots of things that I can play with, lots of challenges for myself. Then recently I've done a midway song, which was never enough. And what I've realized is that some of these songs are songs that I will potentially never perform live. They're just for me songs. They're like songs I love, but it gives me a chance to just step back from the pressure of having to perform them, deep dive into them. And if I want to create a performance opportunity out of it, I can always video it and pop it onto social. So I have a 21 days song study challenge that basically takes that deep dive process and then smacks it on the butt with a call to action, which is like, pop it up on your social. So you get 21 days of kind of walking through all these little steps of spotlighting phrasing, spotlighting breath, spotlighting your voice quality choices based on how you want to interpret the song. And it's fun. It is a lot of fun. And my clients get a kick out of it when we workshop songs like that. So there is a link to the 21 day song study challenge below. And I just want you to pick a song every month and focus on it just for one whole month. We often just kind of move on to the next thing very, very quickly and don't even really figure out what the story is. Sometimes we're so concerned, my client said it yesterday, so concerned with how it sounds that I often don't think, what is the story that I'm telling? And I hear that all the time, and I am guilty of it as well. So the song study is a reminder to really get into the song and deep dive at it from all angles. So song study is a good time. The remainder of the Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan is really a little bit about taking stock, reflecting, looking after yourself, and giving that little extra nurture. So day 23 is meditation, and it's something that I don't feel, in fact, with singing in general, I believe that there's no right or wrong unless it hurts. I think that that's quite a good rule for life because everything's going to be different for everybody. So there are lots of different ways that you can meditate. For me, I like to do it in bed, lying as soon as I wake up. And it's almost like a mindfulness, gratitude, and a intentional focus for the day where I'm just like, blank everything out, still my monkey mind, and just ease into the day really intentionally with white space. Because as creatives, we do suffer from that monkey mind where there's 10 million things going on at once. And I look at it almost like clearing, that's my printer, clearing out any of the ideas, good or bad, or unworked or worked is probably a better way of putting it. Clearing them out so that there's white space for new ideas to come through. And it also helps with anxiety and relaxing and centering and giving you an opportunity to get in the moment. So you can do it as a daily practice, but oh my goodness, all of these things that I'm talking about are reflecting and reviewing and really putting a shine on your pre-performance rituals is the best word I can think of. Habit is a great word as well. But they are quite ritualistic for me. So I would love to meditate before, and I do sometimes meditate. And we're talking 5 minutes before I go on stage. I'll pop my headphones in and I'll just relax. It might be a couple hours before I start to get ready and just sort of center, get in the zone. And there's another way I get in the zone, which I'll share with you in a couple of steps. But that's a really good one for on the day or any old time, right? Helping that monkey mind relax. Day 24 is to massage. Now, this is the entire body, but you can also there's what's called laryngeal massage if you're feeling any vocal tension, and you can have someone perform that for you, to you, and it's a specialist physiotherapist, like a vocal specialist can do that sort of thing for you. You can do it for yourself as well, really gently. And if you search YouTube for laryngeal massage, there are a couple of really great videos there. But, always, again, be gentle with any stretches, even if you're stretching muscles that you usually stretch, like your hamstrings. But I'm in particular talking about all over body massage. Now, again, this is so release tension centric this whole week and preparing for, the work that is ahead, and just giving yourself a chance to take stock and relax prior to, in addition to all of the other things that we've done. One of the things about massage is that you do tend to release toxins into your body after you have had a massage. And so, as a kind of loose rule, I would try to make sure that I had 72 hours before a performance before I would sing, so that I'm just not feeling gluggy. Some people have a massage on the day. I watched the Katy Perry documentary. She had a massage. If Katie likes it, it might work for you. But it's about finding out what works for you. For me, I would err on the edge of what I know for me is that my lactic acid takes 2 days, 3 optimally, to move out of my body. So chances are toxins are going to probably process in the same way for me from my observations. So I apply that 72-hour rule, which is actually day 26. Day 26 is focus. But before we get there, day 25, the Singer's Survival Kit. There's a theme here. It's all about having things on hand that make you feel good and feel prepared and confident after you've done all the hard work. So the Singer's Survival Kit that I have, I probably should have brought it in, but it's a little, in New Zealand, I think you can get it internationally. It's a reusable plastic bag. So it's like a solid plastic, and it's called a Kai carrier. You'd usually put food in it. I put my Singer's Survival Kit stuff in it, which is tissues, hand sanitizer. Yeah, I was on this buzz pre-COVID. And that was because I would always want to have something for my hands, just in case it was like a Portaloo situation, or I was meeting and greeting people, and this is on the gig. Or if it was like a festival flex, I sometimes wouldn't, expect the production team to be like spraying down the grill of a shared microphone, because I have my own microphone and I take it everywhere with me. But sometimes it's like a wireless microphone and I haven't brought a wireless microphone. And in a festival situation, in a general situation, it's something that needs to be pre-planned and can sometimes just be easier to have some hand sanitizer and wipe down the grill if you're concerned. And so that's what I would do. I would use that for my hands. If I was touching things, seeing people traveling, I would always have that and some tissues on hand, some paracetamol, so that if I was feeling a little bit, for whatever reason, I could help that and not feel stressed that I was like pounding headache trying to sing. I would also have, and I do have, little salt sachets like you get at the restaurants, and that I use for salt gargling on the go. And that is to moisturize my mouth and to also remove any bacteria that might be hanging around. The other thing I have is my brain, licorice tea. So I always carry licorice tea with me. That for me is the best tea to drink for singers. It's anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial. And of course, remember, everything has to go into your body, be absorbed, and then you'll feel the benefit of it, unless it's in a steamed form. So here's what you can do. In addition to, I always also carry a water bottle with me. It's a double wall insulated bottle, and that can take warm to kind of hot tea. You can pop your tea bag straight in it, and you can breathe over the lid and do what I call the Darth Vader and topically steam with the tea steam. Of course, you can also use it for cool water, and that is the sort of final piece of the puzzle in my Singer's Survival Kit. A new piece of the puzzle is what's called a humidifier. I don't know why I don't have any of this here with me, but yeah, it's called a humidifier. And again, I've been using this air humidification mask pre-COVID whenever I travel. People would laugh at me. My friends and the other singers that I travel with would just think I was absolutely bananas. But basically, it's a mask that goes over your face. It's a plastic mask that has a filter in it, and it helps you to repurpose your breath. And you're basically just trying to isolate and rehumidify your own breath to keep moisture at bay. So it's not designed to keep buglies out, but the fact that you're wearing a mask in enclosed spaces and rehumidifying your own voice basically was massive. And it's something that I take with me now whenever I travel. So that's like a travel piece along with my Pure Mist, which I did show you in another video. I think I'll do a specific video on all of my tools and like my Singer's Survival Kit, because then you can kind of really deep dive into it and I can share links with you as well. So day 26 then is the 72-hour rule. This is kind of on the back end of what I was saying about the massage. The 3 days prior to a gig is where I really get focused. So even if everything is turned to custard, the month's out, like I haven't been drinking what I'm meant to be drinking, whatever the situation is, 3 days before, I lock it in and I monitor my sleep, I monitor my hydration, I make sure that I know what I'm doing vocally. I'm really well rehearsed, so I really hunker down. And what I often do is put a playlist together of the songs that I'm singing, like the entire set. So for next weekend's gig, the entire set list is in my playlist. I can't speak, regardless of what songs I'm singing on, so that I have the big picture of the show in mind and I know when I have to come on and off stage. So that helps me, to feel prepared and feel confident with what I'm doing, because there are so many variables that if I can lock it in those 3 days, like I know which hotel we're at, I know the logistics of when I'm traveling. Often these days I'm getting a bit more organized. I'll have my bag packed. I'll have everything ready to go in advance. So the 72-hour rule applies to just getting ready, like using those 3 days prep before a gig to really intensify the tips that you have chosen and spotlighting them with some intensity. Now, I have a 72-hour pre-performance checklist that you can grab as well, and I'll pop the link in the description box, which just outlines all of the exact things. So it's kind of like a condensed Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan. Like, these are the things you guts to do if you want to feel good. And then day 27 again is reiterating these steps that can make you feel good. The prep steps, it's an acronym. So it's about not only the big picture preparation, but also that moment before you get on stage, potentially, where you remind yourself of these 4 steps. So the P is for prepare, or when you're getting into stage, the perception, like perceiving where you are and what you're doing and knowing exactly the lay of the land. R is relax, release tension, just chill a little bit, like take a few deep breaths, center, use your meditation, whatever you need, and get your head in the game. E stands for engage, and that's both with the band, with the music, and with the audience. It's just a reminder that's why you're there. Engage in the moment and do the very best you can. If you've done all the prep, you're there. This is the moment you've been waiting for. And then, which is the final P, is perform or play, or if you're in a preparation phase, it's practice. But it's really about having a good time. You do all this hard work in the lead up. This is the moment. Prep it, get it done. Remember where you are, what you're doing, who you're there for. It's the music has to be the winner at the end of the day, and the audience wants to feel that love. And so those prep steps are just kind of like a quick checklist that I sometimes use to remind me to just get over myself and focus on the task at hand. Yeah, that's it. Day 28 is a physical format of the relax and chill, which is the ragdoll. And it's the action of just taking a deep breath in and then just flopping forward from the waist and shaking things out like a ragdoll and just relaxing. You get a great hamstring stretch. You be mindful of your back if you have any lower back issues, but you just shake everything out, release tension, take a deep breath in, flop it out again, shake it out, take a deep breath in, and then roll up one vertebra at a time as you're exhaling and just relax. And so in the video tutorials that you get with the Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan, all of these tips have little specific tutorials that you can watch, and you see me doing a ragdoll. I should have probably done one for you today, but we're just talking through it, talking about the purpose and the concept. Day 29 is the inspiration playlist. So I've talked about how I'm going to put together the set, but I also sometimes just collate all the songs that are just my jams for the moment that make me feel really good. One in particular I often use as a hype song before I go on stage. And for some reason, for a million years, it's been Bang Bang, Jessie J, Ariana Grande, Nicki Minaj, Flex. And that just hypes me up. I'm just kind of like, yeah. So, you can use the inspiration playlist however you want. If you like to listen to music while you get ready, before you're leading into a gig, that's kind of what I use it for. But also, after doing a whole month of like focused work on getting gig fit, sometimes it's a great reminder to just be inspired and do things for fun. It can get a little bit like work centric, or you're so focused that you forget that fun, which is what the prep steps are there to help you to remind you of. And then day 30, the last day, is to review and refocus. So look back on the 30 days. What worked? What didn't? What will you continue on as part of a daily vocal care or daily Get Gig Fitness practice plan, habit, rituals, whatever you want to call it? And consider, just what worked, what didn't, what you're going to continue on with. And that's something we really don't do as creatives. We very rarely stop after we've released something or written something or done a performance, and without judgment, like just with our, let's just review that hat, look back and think, what could have I done better? What did I do really well? What can I change for next time? And that gives information of how to proceed. Like, you don't want to be making the same mistakes all over. And to do that, you need to be conscious and intentional about what you need to fix or tweak moving forward. So this is like going to take you 30 minutes. You can do it after every gig, but definitely do it after the last months of tips, please. And let me know in the comments. Let me know what worked for you. What did you love? What did you not like? Is there something that you would like me to add to the Get Gig Fit 30 action plan? Share your tips with me. I would appreciate that. Not only will I pop it into the Get Gig Fit action plan, I might even use it myself, which is the best way I like to road test things. I don't share anything with you that I haven't done myself. Okay, so if you've been here with me the whole time, thank you for getting into this Get Gig Fit 30 Day Action Plan. You can do it at any time. I do it usually with days that have 30 days because it's kind of a trigger, easy prompt, cue, but you really can do it at any point. And you can download the checklist at any time as well too. Until the end of the year, I might be changing things up in 2021. Okay, to wrap things up, we talked about a question that was asked of me. I'm going to read it to you. So the frustration that one of the singers I worked with said was that I won't be able to express and show people my music exactly how it sounds inside of me. And this is like such a great sort of question or frustration, because I think a lot of people feel that way and maybe don't articulate it quite as well as it was articulated here. And so I sort of thought about a good way of approaching that is, firstly, and I'll just read my points because I thought it through. So my first point is that music is a conversation. So you're sharing a story, either one you are reinterpreting via a cover or one you're writing yourself. Your feelings and perspectives are always valid, and you firstly need to build trust in that. And so whatever you're feeling on the inside, just own it. So how it is perfect, right? With that in mind, and I guess this is a side note, feelings, of course, do change over time. A lot of the artists I work with can sometimes look back on the music that they've written and they're like, God, and I feel that way actually about stuff that I've written. And then I have to remind myself, that were my feelings. That was how I felt on that day. That was my musical conversation my musical story I wanted to share with the world in that moment. Own the feelings. Own the fact that that's who you are, what you thought, what you were thinking on the day. That's the first thing. Then, once you've owned that feeling or that thought or that story, then exploring the language of music as a whole gives you the tools to be able to engage and connect with people or your audience. And so crafting every element, like songwriting, playing an instrument, singing, performance, and then all of those thrown together as a whole extra element combined helps to develop your confidence in your ability to share your stories from that unique perspective. So first you identify that your perspective is unique, right? Own it. Then you figure out, what tools do I need to develop to craft the language that's going to share my thoughts and my unique feelings most effectively. And that's that kind of bridge between, how do I get what's inside me out in the way that I want? So own the feelings, craft the language that you want, whether that's the English language in the sense of poetry or words and songwriting. And songwriting is more than just words, it's melody and harmony and rhythm and phrasing and a lot of million things actually, as is singing. Once you understand that language and how to deliver, tell your stories using those tools, that makes you that much more confident. And that's where I also then suggest, like my song study process, as we talked about earlier. It's a tool to then take a deep dive into the actual song and all the elements of how you want to tell it. Break the song down. And when I work with clients, we break the song down and I offer ways of technically approaching each element so you can be intentional with the storytelling and then in turn express exactly how it sounds inside of you. So hopefully, the feeling of not being able to express, I often feel is, you feel like you don't have the words, you don't have the language. And so when it comes to singing, the language is 100% technical tools or your singer's toolkit, but it's also about trusting and being able to say, this is my story and this is how I want to tell it because these are the emotions that I want to deliver across. And I was working with one of my artists yesterday on this. It was about the intention. So when you're doing a cover and you're reinterpreting it, you're so intentional with the fact that, you connect with that person's feelings. So you read through the lyrics and you're like, okay, I know what that person is saying. And then you might say, how would I say this if I was in that situation? You might like to speak it through if you need ideas of how you, out of context of music, would actually just say it. Because remember, back to the point, music is a conversation. Songs are stories and singers are the storytellers. Or sometimes I like to use it like where the song is the script and we're the actors. And so we can interpret it however we want. And by making it your own, you just want to make sure that the language, whatever it is, the songwriting, the singing, the performance, the instrumentation, the delivery of that is considered. And that will help you to feel more confident and 100% allow you to express and show the music exactly how it sounds inside of you. But I think just back to that first point, you got to trust that your feelings are valid and that what you've got to say is important today, and yes, you're going to learn. Hopefully we're just continually learning and your thoughts and your ideas might change, but you're kind of just documenting your journey right now and using it, crafting and using that in song to tell your story. I hope that makes sense. Very passionate about that. I want people to really understand their uniqueness. Because for me as a singer, the minute that I accepted my voice and my place in music as a collaborator, a contributor, the pressure, the ego just kind of washed away. I mean, it comes back. Don't get me wrong, it comes back. But I feel like creating that space for myself opened me up to be able to learn the language of singing better, the crafting. I had space to do all of these things. And it's so unbelievably freeing. And you feel a sense of confidence because it's not like, I am not the best singer in the world. It's not about that. I am okay with my thoughts and my feelings. And I've worked hard at getting tools in my toolkit that can help me to tell the story. Maybe not as quickly as some people like that. I'm a bit slow. I have to think about things and really deep dive into it. But once I know what I want to say and I have the tools and the language to say it, man, I'll smash it. I'll smash it. And so I just want to share that with you. If I could give you anything at all that helps you feel confident and gig fit and ready for any performance, is to just trust in yourself, reflect and review. So if something doesn't go right, even if it's a feeling, you might have nailed the vocal performance, but if it's a feeling that you didn't do well or there was something that you wanted to change, I really encourage you to reflect back on checking in with yourself, making sure that, you can, if there's something that you can up level, you go and do that and focus on it. And then that's all you can do, because then it's about the process. It's about the creative process and the intention. And then when you get on stage, you just do your very best, and all the work that you did off stage culminates. And hopefully you having a good time, feeling connected with your stories and feeling connected with your ability to tell those stories, and then in turn sharing that with the audience. And I honestly believe they will feel it if you're there and in it. Rant over. I hope you have enjoyed the rundown of the tips. I will be back next week at the same time, either live or I'll pre-record a question for you if I am at soundcheck. But do look back on the other weeks. Grab the Get Gig Fit 30-day action plan. The link is below, and you'll get access to all those tutorials and the calendar, which you can print out or just check off digitally. Comment if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them. Have an amazing day.